Oh, sorry. This doesn't say when. Anyway, video response to Nick, the modern mystic, part of his video anyway.
Let's call capitalism and free markets. After decades of socialism, there is no other way, and there never was. No government regulation, no wealth distribution, no central planning are going to do any good, and they never were. Present resource allocation is completely wrong. The whole phony economics must fall apart, and it eventually will, no matter what we do, and resources must be freed. Again, we've got to give this serious consideration.
Alright, so he's reading somebody else's comment there, and so his line is, we've got to give this serious consideration. So here's his serious consideration.
Now, hopefully you've understood, I don't think there is an answer. I don't think there's a right answer.
Right, that's serious consideration. I don't think there's a right answer because it hasn't occurred to Nick, right? Nick, who only sees two things, only sees two options, extreme A or extreme C, and there's no B.
But there are probably more wrong answers, as in answers that are more wrong than right.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say that about everything on the planet Earth, couldn't you? Couldn't you say that there's more wrong ways to build a building than right ways to build a building? I think he probably could say that because the wrong ways include every fucking thing. Like doing this. This is the wrong way to create a building, right? Is to do this. Yeah, that's not a good design plan. Fuck. What is brilliant. That's a serious statement. There's more wrong ways than right ways.
This capitalism one, free market, that never was, never will be, but moving hard in that direction.
Yeah, there was, Nick. There was plenty of free markets, and they led to monarchies, and that's how they all got started. I mean, what, you're saying the human race didn't start with a free market? Of course it did. But yeah, it depends on how you define the word free. All of a sudden it becomes unfree because you win a war and you take everybody as a slave. Now, it's still a free market from the owner's perspective. Obviously, it's not a free market from the slave's perspective.
Direction could be all right to save and make lives good for a certain minimum or a certain smaller amount of people.
Yeah, smaller. Why don't you just say a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of people? Okay, it'll work for. And the vast majority will be in servitude to those tiny, tiny percentage of owners. That's the system we have. Again, the top 8,000 households have more income than the bottom 70 million Americans.
And it will work for them. The capitalist that owns the factory managers, the people that are just about working, they're just about jobs.
Well, yeah, well, look, it's not even the factory managers. Get real. It's the son-in-law, the nephew, that retarded guy's brother-in-law. All right, I mean that's what's running most businesses. Is some nepotistic. Yeah, I'll hire your fucked up, alcoholic daughter. You hire my drug-addicted son. Kind of crap that goes on. That's running industry.
About being paid and just about eating. But there will be a lot of people who would want one of those just about jobs, because there'll be an awful lot of other people that wouldn't be eating. It's just the way.
Yeah, just the way it is. Yes, we have to drive people into desperation to get work out of them. It's the only possible way. It's either promise them billion-dollar lottery tickets, or put them in a circumstance where their kids are starving and they'll do anything for a loaf of bread. Fuck you.
The way the world is, I don't think it's set up now for free market capitalism in one place.
Well, yeah, just like it isn't set up for socialism in one place either, right? Because the free market capitalists will go into Indonesia, or they'll go into Cuba, or they'll have the pretense of giving our worst enemies ammunition and bullets and guns and Stinger missiles so they can cause trouble for our little commie red adversaries. right? Yeah, that's right. It can't work because we have a system where you can't play both. You can't play both games in the same arena, in the same fucking stadium. You can't play soccer at the same time you're playing fucking baseball.
If the whole world went free market capitalism, I think we'd get the same thing um, all over, and basically, how would people die off? Probably there'd be a plague because
Now he has this dopey theory that we're still blighted by the problems of, incidental bacterial infection or something. Like somehow the poor people are going to pick up cholera and all the diseases and give it to the rich people, and that's how the society's going to. That'll be the the signing off of capitalism or free markets. And it's just a pile of crap. The point is people, the NRA has armed poor people now, so they're not going to be slaves again. They're not going to go back to that world. They're not going to get cholera. They're not going to live in squalor. They're going to refuse. And regardless, the failure of such a system, even if it didn't create what you're saying, some Armageddon plight, some plague. The plague is in its very futility, and it's in the fact that it doesn't work. I mean, all through the Middle Ages, we can see that even when they were successful, even when they were creating great works of art, 90% of the people lived in fucking shit. So it was a goddamn failure.
The medical infrastructure wouldn't be in place for enough people. It'd take care of some people, but the ones that weren't taken care of.
Oh, please! I mean, even this whole medical subject's a subject all of its own. So why are you dragging it into this thing? There's a real difference between having enough medicine to maintain a civilization and having goddamn brain transplants and all this other crap that people are using the medical industrial complex for. I mean, they're using it so they can, live an extra, live their 93rd year. Instead of just living to be 91, they want to live to be 94. I mean, it's just kind of crap. What the system, where it's wasting the money, is in the waste, in the huge, legacy of wrinkled old bags of shit. Sorry to be fucking frank, but yeah, we're wasting a ton of money on people that are already fucking dead.
We'll probably go all down and dirty and get all sorts of infections, which are eventually passed on to the let's say the rich people or the lucky people.
Yeah, well, look, it's not like Nick, come on, get real. It's not 300 years ago. The rich don't have to drink the same water as the poor anymore. Okay, the rich can insulate themselves from the diseased zombies. Okay, they really can.
And the whole thing had probably come down in a global epidemic or pandemic or whatever it is. But that's obviously Nick just being hypothetical, throwing it out. I can't see how hardcore capitalism and free markets can save everybody. And effectively,
yeah, well, it can't save anybody. It's why we're in the mess we're in now. So why don't you just make that simple statement? But you can't even do that. In your serious conversation, you won't even concede the reason why we're in this shithole is because we gave too many incentives to too many people to break too many fucking goddamn logical and sensible human race rules to get their fucking little green, to get their fucking selfish yachts and villas and the rest of that crap, to live their opulent, disgusting, weaselly lives. They compromised our entire civilization. That's the reason why this thing is going to fail, is because all these assholes had to say, how can I make more money on what I own?
I don't think they can save half the people or even a lucky few percent. But I also agree that no wealth distribution, no central planning are going to do any good, and they never were either.
Yeah, so you agree with this blanket statement that you can't engineer the system. You can't put any regulations on it whatsoever. Any regulations whatsoever. Automatically, it's a slippery slope to gulags, right? There's no way to engineer this system so you don't have gulags and you don't have political corruption, you don't have insider crap, you don't have proletariats. You don't have, Brezhnev, watching his May Day parades of arms and waste and nonsense. You don't have oppression and suppression of basic civil rights, right? There's no way to create a government without it becoming draconian fucking gulag, right? They're all bullshit. All right, so part 2 on the website. Thank you very much. I better hit the goddamn button. Where's the goddamn button?